All right. I think I'm about to piss some people off here. One of the questions I have here is there any truth to the movie Precious? Are women subconsciously putting their daughters in harm's way? See, I asked this question because there were two recent assault cases where the mom knew or should have knew or suspected an assault was occurring or had the potential to occur. Remember that scene in Precious when the mother confessed and said that she let her boyfriend sleep with her daughter and then she turned around and blamed her daughter because he left?
I, I had a man and I have a child, and I had to take care of both of them. Okay? Did I want Carl to touch my baby? Because I would lay my baby. I would lay her on the side of me on this pillow. And it was pink, and it had this little white writing on it, and it had her name. Because she was precious. And I would lay my baby on that pillow. And Carl would be laying on the other side. And then we would start doing it, and he reached over and he touched my baby. And I asked him, I said, Carl, what are you doing? And he told me to shut my fat ass up, and it was good for her.
And what did you do then?
I shut my fat ass up.
Is this a thing? Are women subconsciously sabotaging their daughter's future so they can ensure that they don't surpass them in life? Are women competing with their daughters is what I'm asking. Do they blame them for where they are in life? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming the women. It's absolutely the man's fault. It's the man's fault for the assault. It's completely the man's fault for the violation. No matter if it's a one night stand or long term, all men should understand or should assess the mental maturity and make sure there's an understanding of the obligations before and after sex with an adult. This is why you don't have sex with people that don't have the mental capacity, people that are unconscious, or is a child, because they don't fully understand the implications or have the emotional intelligence to understand the exchange. See, I thought about this when I looked into these two cases. The first one involved 10-year-old Breasia Terrell. This guy, Henry Dinkins, he was released from prison on a DUI 4 months before he killed Breasia.
More information about the man charged with killing and kidnapping Breasia Terrell. New documents show Henry Dinkins was released on parole less than 4 months before the Davenport 10-year-old's disappearance. Dinkins had been in prison for driving while under the influence of illegal drugs.
He had a DUI. He had a DUI charge. He just got out. He didn't even have a license. He didn't even have a license to drive this car. Is that why in the interrogation he said, I'm going to leave that blank?
And did you drive her car here, or
I'm gonna leave that blank?
I'm going to leave that blank. So the question is, did the mother notice? Did she know that he didn't have a valid driver's license? Even if she didn't, why didn't she go upstairs? Why didn't she go upstairs when she came to drop off the clothes to look at the environment where her child would be staying or spending the night? She didn't even speak to the woman, Andrea. She didn't even go up and talk to her. I mean, she had just reconnected with this dude after he got out of jail. And then the grandmother, she wouldn't let the oldest son go. I didn't understand that either. If you can't take them all, don't take none of them. I mean, that's one of the rules, is that a mother will go up and check out the environment where her daughter's going to be staying to make sure everything checks out. She's going to have a conversation with the woman that lives there to say, hey, girl, we on the same page? You let me know if anything crazy goes on, and here's my number. None of that happened. The other case is related to Ayanna Sawyer and Samaya Sawyer. We found out from their aunt Naomi how often the girls came over. And this is, to me, this case right here, this just got enabler written all over it. A lot of women in the family. None of them served as like a role model to these girls. Instead, they just let them go to their aunt's house and stay with this man that she was married to overnight when she went to work. Talking about they had to watch the 3-year-old baby. She could have brought the baby to them. They were 13 and 14, old enough to stay at home by themselves. I don't understand that. So we're going to find out how often they stayed with Naomi to show you how they enabled this whole thing.
And what, in general, would be the purpose of them coming over to assist? Like, specifically for what?
They would come and help assist with my daughter while I was at work, or just assist, spend time with me.
And just to encapsulate that whole period of time from mid-2017 all the way through 2018 in your pregnancy, were your nieces coming over to assist you, your family, your husband, or a combination thereof?
Yes.
When they would come over, would it typically be like weekends, or would it be throughout the week? Could you explain like a general time period they would come over?
If it was during the summer, then it could be throughout the week as well as the weekend. And then during the school time, it was just during the weekend.
Would the nieces come just the two of them at times?
Yes.
Would SS ever come there alone?
She has come alone.
And what about IS? Would she come there and stay alone?
IS came alone more often than SS.
With respect to IS, you mentioned she would come stay there alone, and you said more than SS. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you give our jury an understanding of approximately how often she was coming and staying alone?
It would be at least once a month.
Now, Ms. Mobley, would she come as often as needed at your request?
It would be a combination of at my request and also at her asking.
And would the general purpose of her coming to stay in your home be to take care of you and or your daughter and or any other needs around the house?
It would mainly be to look after my daughter and to take that load off while I was at work.
Looking back, Ms. Mobley, if you can tell us approximately, first with respect to SS, how often over that year and a half do you think she would be alone with the baby?
I don't know how often she was alone for the time when I was away and she was at the house along with her sister. But anytime she came by herself, I would be gone. And again, I don't know how often my daughter was not in the same room as them. So.
And same question, would your answer be the same with respect to IS?
Yes, it will.
Did you ever know your then husband, your ex-husband, to pick up IS and or SS from Terry Parker High School?
Yes, when his son Jaco was attending Terry Parker High School, he would pick the three of them up.
And what vehicle would he do that in?
In the van.
The red minivan?
Yes.
Did he ever take them to other places in that red minivan that you're aware of?
Yes, they went places all the time. They would especially go to the beach. He had a lot of alone time outside of the house with IS because she was in the process of getting her driver's license. And so he took her to get the mandatory hours. I'm not sure how many hours it was. I believe it's 10 hours or something along those lines that they require you to have in order to go from having a permit to having an actual license, and he was the person who took her in order to get those hours.
When he went with her driving to get her hours, would he do that alone?
Yes, he would.
Did you ever?
No. I typically took loads that would have me to start my morning just after 2 a.m.
Long days?
Yes.
And during that time period when you were gone during those days, would you have your nieces come over and help with your daughter?
Yes.
Is there a time period where your then husband broke his leg?
She would go to work at 2 a.m. and leave that girl with him. Sometimes they would come along, sometimes they wouldn't. She said they came once a month. Then she said, oh, they came when they wanted to, when they asked. And then she said she would call them and they would come. You bet that he was asking for those girls to come over there as well. And nobody said anything about them girls sleeping there at night while she's at work and while her mother's at work. Sabotage. And the thing about it, there were 2 accusations made against this dude. The first one happened in March when the mother found out that the 15-year-old had sex with a 20-year-old. She called the police. They did a rape kit and they found DNA. They found the boy's DNA, and then they found the uncle's DNA. And then accusations came out of that first one that she may have been sleeping with the uncle.
Were you aware of a time period where IS was sexually assaulted by their neighbor? I think he lived across the street.
Yes.
Okay. And was that person known to you as Kamar Humphrey?
I believe that's his name.
You didn't know him personally or had never met him, correct?
No.
Only thing you knew was that there was this sexual battery that happened around March of 2018, correct?
Yes.
Okay. During that time period, were allegations raised of there being some sort of sexual relationship between Mr. Quillez and IS?
Following Kamar, yes.
I'm sorry. I was answering your question following Kamar, yes. Your response to that is?
Yes.
Okay. At that time, in March of 2018, when those allegations came out, did those come from your sister Jametta?
I don't know who they originated from. I just know that it came from my family.
See, here's the thing. When the first allegation came out, she should have shut all that down. She should have shut it all down. But they enabled it.
Did Jametta express agreement about those accusations?
They never came to me directly.
When you learned of those accusations, did you confront IS or SS or both about any sort of sexual relationship between Mr. Quillez and them?
I asked them at the Trout River location if there had been any type of inappropriate anything. I asked them both together at a time when he was not around because I didn't want any issue to be of feeling discomfort in the event that he was around, and the answer was yes. So I asked them both together.
And there was no sort of admission from either of them at that point, correct?
No, there was not.
In fact, they said vehemently that never happened.
That is correct.
In fact, if there was any inclination whatsoever from them that something had been going on, you would not have stayed with Mr. Quillez, fair?
I would have took myself and my daughter, and I would have left him.
Around that same time period,
I don't think she would have left him. I don't think she would have left him because if she would have shut it down the first time to show that she meant business. And if he would have went back, she would have had to show him. But instead, she enabled it. And so did the mom.
I recall there being a falling out between your sister Jametta and Mr. Quillez.
There was a falling out that was happening all the way around with my family around that time period.
Okay. After that accusation came out and you got your assurances from your nieces as to nothing having been going on between them and Mr. Quillez, did IS and SS continue to come to your house?
Yes.
Was that at your request?
No, it was mine. It was if they text and asked if they could come over, I would tell them to ask their mother, and oftentimes they would text and ask if they could come over.
That's ridiculous. They had allegations back in March of 2018. The girls said no, and they continued to let them come over. They said no, and they continued to come over. I think the reason why they let him come over, because this is a Chico DeBarge looking ass nigga. And I think these women, especially the wife, had low self-esteem. And I think she continued to let this play out. Now, had this been some old nappy head, bald head, dark skinned, black ass nigga, they would say, get your ass away from my daughter. The first allegation, his ass would have been in jail. And I'm not one of these people that believe in colorism, but I think colorism is one of the things that allowed this to happen. Because he's an attractive guy. And you'll find out they actually celebrated when she was pregnant. They celebrated the idea of her being pregnant because guess what? She gonna have a pretty baby. That's that bullshit. That's that bullshit I'm talking about right there. They allowed this to happen.
Did they do that with their mother's permission, come over to your house?
I would never get any of my nieces or nephews without their parents' permission.
So is it your assertion right now today that every time that IS and SS would come over to your house, you were aware of it and your sister Kimberly Mobley was also aware of that?
That is if it happened under my say-so. Now, what happened?
It did happen under your say-so because it happened in your house. The hell is she talking about? She sounds like a damn idiot.
I was at work, I can't attest to.
Okay.
And she gonna try and use that work as a reason why she didn't know what was going on. Women, y'all know when another woman is fucking your dude. Y'all know it. Y'all got that sense. Y'all know it, and she knew it. And the mama knew it.
In early of December 2018, was there some sort of family disagreement about that?
Yes, the family disagreement happened via text message that was sent by my older sister. And we had a group messaging that we would do. And the defendant, my then husband, was included in that texting stream. And my sister had stated that Jose was in fact Jonathan, and that Jonathan was the father of IS's baby. And at that time, it was an extreme disagreement. I was highly upset of the accusation, and my words to them were very explicit, and I finished with, you don't have to wait for the baby to be born. You can test him now.
That was a dumbass response. Because it shouldn't have been a response that you had to make had you cut it off with the first accusation. So anyway, she tells him to stop talking to him.
Now, when this family disagreement broke out in text message as a group in early 2018, what, if anything, did you do thereafter with respect to what you told the defendant?
I told him at that time that he needed to stop speaking with my nieces and he needs to give my family space. I said that it looks really bad and he needs to distance himself.
Would you have told him that early December 2018?
It was on the same day that that text happened, which was December 6, 2018.
And would you agree, ma'am, the members of that group text were all of your sisters?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody was on the text. So anyway, she goes on to say that he was upset about it, and then everybody was going back and forth, and then things calmed down, and they actually started celebrating that a new baby was coming. A new baby was coming because it's going to have good hair. She ain't say that, but it's that colorism shit. Because like I said, if this was some new Timbo looking ass, they would have been like, nah, call the police. This nigga is out. But instead, it's some Chico El DeBarge looking ass, and they just allowed it to happen.
When the family learned that IS was pregnant, I guess more the earlier part of December 2018, was the defendant upset about that?
Yes, he was.
Explain that.
He was upset because of our reactions to her being pregnant. As I said, he was on the group chat. Initially, he was just in shock with me in my telling him. But initially, we were also in shock, and our messages reflected that. But as the shock settled, we began to celebrate the fact that there would be a baby coming. And so that's when I noticed that he was upset.
So they celebrated the fact that a baby would be coming to a 15-year-old that had just made 16, that was still in high school. They were celebrating the fact. That's a damn shame. And they knew he was the damn dad because of the first accusation. Now there's another accusation. And this time she's pregnant. It took her 5 years to figure out what the hell was going on.
In hindsight, as opposed to with all the new information, I can sit back and say, okay, well, that was strange. It's happened over 4.5, almost 5 years to sit back and think. In hindsight, yes, I will say that was extremely strange.
And let me ask
5 damn years. After 5 years, you just realized it was strange.
you about the cooking thing because you brought that up. The cooking thing, you testified on direct that he would ask all of the kids, hey, what do you all want to eat? And then he would make food for them, correct?
He would ask all of them. They would either agree and they all wanted the same thing at that particular time, or they would each say what they did want. But when it all boiled down to it, I got my meal, and the second meal that was made was always the one that Yana said. The one that IS said.
And as far as cooking 2 meals, you're talking about that time period when you were pregnant.
Yes.
Okay. And during that time period, he's making you a specific meal that's just for you, right?
Yes.
And the other meals that he's making, and that's basically because of your request, right? Like, hey, I want XYZ.
Yes.
And he would accommodate that.
Yes, he would.
And he would do that regularly. That's just the kind of guy he was.
He was a cook. He was the cook. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just find it hard to believe that you would have 2 different accusations. One in March, that establishes that put the family on notice that she's sexually active, and you continue to let her go over there by herself and stay there with him while you go to work and your sister go to work. The mother knows she's sexually active, and she's over there with him at nighttime. Her and her sister, or sometimes they're there by themselves. That's straight up bullshit. That's straight up bullshit. I think she had low self-esteem. She let this dude do whatever the hell he wanted to do because she didn't want to piss him off. That's what it was. She didn't want to piss him off. That's what it was. She was taking care of him. Some women, they just want a pretty baby. That's what it boils down to. They ain't got no self-esteem. They ain't got no pride in their own damn self. They rather take care. That's kind of, and the thing is, where was her dad at? Where was these girls' dad? Because he should have been asking the questions, where is she? Oh, she's over there with him. Why is she over there with him? Wait, what's going on? Why is she over there with him? That would have been my question. Wait, you work these hours and your sister worked these hours. Well, who does? Oh, he is. He is. Whoa, how long this been going on? But nobody said anything. Now all of a sudden she get pregnant. Everybody want to beat his ass. And he goes off and kills the girl. And the thing is, his dumb ass, why the hell would he even allow himself to be in a position where he's in the house with little girls? What man does that? I wouldn't even want the possibility of somebody saying that I did something to a little girl because I'm in the house with her. True or untrue? And he allowed it. His dumb ass, that's why his ass is going to jail now. I'm just saying, parents, I mean, your kids, they are the damn future. The only way to change your future is through your kids. And if you're damaging the kids when they're younger, then your future, shit ain't gonna never change. They can rewrite your past all damn day, but they can't rewrite your future. Only you can write your future. And you do that through your damn kids. But y'all just fucking over your kids and just putting them in situations where they never been exposed to, so they don't know what the hell is going on. Somebody tell them they look pretty and they like the way they smell, the way they walk. That shit pissed me off. But those are the points I wanted to come on and point out. I just think parents got to do better, especially protecting these little girls. The men got to do better, the fathers got to do better, and the mothers got to do better. Women, you can't be competing with your daughters. You can't be putting your kids out at 18 and you ain't taught them shit. You expect them to be a damn adult when you ain't taught them shit. That's all I got. Later.